Zero equals zero.
Hey, 0 times 10 is still 0.
That's what I, yep.
Okay. Meeting for Walton County Design Review Board begins. It is open. It is 6 o'clock and it is March 3rd, Thursday. 5 o'clock, excuse me. 5 o'clock. I'm on mountain time. All right, first thing on the agenda we'll start with is the minutes. Read them. Do we have a motion to approve if they've been read? And
so moved.
Okay, we have a motion.
And you second it? I second it.
Second it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
As opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is announcements.
I have a quick announcement. I was just going to let you guys know that the scenic corridor changes, they're going to be brought back to the BCC next Tuesday to set the public hearings. So the goal would be to have Planning Commission in April, and then the BCC would have to hear it 2 more times, but hopefully they could get it done their last meeting in April and then the first meeting in May. So that's our goal, first meeting in May for the BCC for approval.
Perfect.
Okay, you said
April Planning Commission, then the second BCC meeting in April for a first reading.
April PC and first meeting in May for transfer.
Our adoption.
Oh, for adoption. When will be so the second meeting in April for first BCC?
Yeah, that's the plan.
For the
April
plan.
26th and May 10th.
Okay. All right, one announcement. Tim, any announcements?
No.
Nope. Okay, items to be heard. First one on the agenda is Mole Drive Recycling Center improvements.
Good evening, Tim Brown with Planning and Development. This is a request. It's a minor development order because there's no buildings, so we did it as a minor. Requesting the approval for fence, vegetation, landscaping, and driveway improvements on 1.656 acres with a future land use of institutional. It's located at the southwest corner of US Highway 98 and Mall Drive intersection. Walton County is the applicant. It's the county's recycling center. Basically, the gist of it is they're going to remove the entrance on 98. They're going to remove that. They're going to add landscaping, which there's none now, and they're going to add a fence so they can screen the actual trailers. So it's going to look tremendously better.
Yep.
What kind of fencing is it going to be?
They're going to do a privacy fence, a wood privacy fence.
Just like natural color wood?
There's a detail in there.
They're going to stain
Sorry.
it.
I didn't make it all the way through. I didn't make it to the last one.
They're proposing to stain it because it says in the code it can be painted or stained. They're going to stain it.
So is it just going to be like a natural looking stain?
As far as I know, yes. It'd just be a natural, you know, what you would do with your wood deck or whatever.
Yeah, like a wood.
Are they going to get the color of this thing? Because it could be any color.
I know, that's what I'm trying
Well, I think it's going to be natural wood. I don't think it's going to be any wild color. I mean, I think they would just like to not do anything, but the code says painted or stained. You have to pick one or the other, so they're picking stained. But they'd rather just not do anything and just put up the privacy fence.
Okay.
Since we're on that, is there a gate to this?
Yeah, there'll be a gate, so
There's not a gate shown, that's why I was asking.
I'm sure there will be because they come in there and take them away so they can empty them. So they're
Just saying, there's a straight wall there on the plan. I have a question, Tim, on page 1. It says the requirement for a signed and sealed landscape plan by a landscape architect has been waived by the county.
yes.
Is that a standard procedure for the county to do things and not require themselves what they require of everybody else?
I wouldn't say it's standard, but it does happen occasionally.
And I think one reason that there's no building here, there's no construction here. All it is it's an existing recycling center that they're going to be improving. That's basically what it is. There's no construction, there's no building, there's no nothing there. It's an existing facility that they're gonna add some, improvements to, I think.
And these plans were done internally by Public Works, and Public Works does not have a landscape architect.
We know some good ones.
What's that?
We know some good ones. Where is the fence?
Landscape maintenance company said, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, I mean, I'm gonna just throw out there that, I'd like to recognize that this seems to be a project motivated by trying to make things better. So,
that's a good thing.
I don't want to grill anybody over this because it's a major step in the right direction. But
Right.
maybe a motion with some requests would be a good way to
To move it?
yeah
Yeah,
to move it forward.
yeah. Very much so.
I mean, it'd be nice if more property owners would do this.
I agree
Well-
with David. This is very, very significant with what Tim said. I mean, anything done there is a great improvement. That's an entrance to the recreational facility that everybody has to pass by. And it's
Yeah.
been a horrible eyesore for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, and they're gonna asphalt it too, which now is just dirt.
Yeah.
So that's gonna cut down on any dust going in and out.
I
No,
would
definitely.
suggest if, you know, that, that at least somebody identify by name what plants, shrubs, trees, and everything else are.
It's on the landscape plan, if you look,
Is it?
Yeah.
Down in the bottom right.
yeah, it's the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
Landscaping
I'm
legend.
with you. Okay.
I just happen to recognize the initials of the individual that did this, and I trust that his intention is to do everything very nicely.
Good.
Who
So I
is
think
it?
if we,
Who
what's
is
that?
it?
It's
Mommy
Chance.
asking.
His chance.
Is that Chance? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Chance.
Yeah, Chance did the plans.
Yeah.
No, he knows it
Listen.
well.
And he
Yeah,
would
so
have been here, but he's out of town.
Yeah. So I think I'm perceiving that if we make a motion with a few suggestions about the gate and the stain color and that type of stuff, I'm sure it'll be well received.
And Mr. Chairman, we would be glad to bring this forward, and I'm sure whatever recommendations and suggestions the board has will be adhered to and well received.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I think too, I don't disagree. I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I also would say that the county needs to set the standard. If the county has requirements in place of private developers, then some of the best looking stuff along the corridor, in my opinion, and in the county in general, should be county facilities. Not that you have to get extravagant and spend a ton of money on them, because it's
Yeah.
taxpayer money, but I think, you know, just giving it a little bit of attention is fair. But I am thrilled to see the county doing this.
Yep.
And let me
Thrilled.
make one
I
note
can't
on
even
that.
tell you how
It gets rid of
happy.
that U-Haul, that the whole mess that sits up front there, that you can see from the road in the dirt, so,
Yep.
hey, I'm glad they're doing it, so.
I am
So we
very,
have a
very
motion?
I'm going to take a second to craft it. One other quick question is, I didn't think about this until now. Is there any lighting in here?
No, no lighting.
No lighting. Okay. In that case, I'm my eyeball. Oh, I got glasses on here.
Can I ask one more quick question before we go to a motion?
6-foot fence. Okay.
Just because I can't quite tell, is this the type of fencing where it's like, you can't see
Offset.
through it, it's
Shadow-
offset?
yeah.
Is that-
Yes.
Shadow box,
Okay,
called
Yes,
shadow
that's,
box.
that's what they're proposing, yes.
that's great.
That's good.
I would just say we'd want a natural looking stain color, and
Yeah. Either
I'm guessing they didn't
a
plan.
dark
to-
green or dark brown.
Or light brown.
Light brown.
I wouldn't go green.
We happen to have a section
Wood.
of this. Yeah, we
Wood.
have a section of very similar fence on one of the
Yes.
boundaries of Rosemary, and it's green. It pretty much disappears.
Yeah, but that's a lot of fence out in a
Mm-hmm.
big open, all you're gonna see is the fence and the landscaping in front of it.
As it gets bigger.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, the fence is behind the lane, right behind the landscaping.
Out on
Yeah,
the
but-
front, yeah.
Yeah.
So the entrance is off of Mull Drive, so that's where the gate will be, even though they're not showing that is where a gate would be, is on Mull
I can't
Drive.
imagine they were planning on putting a fence post in the middle of the driveway. I think it's just a quick drawing.
Well, you got a lot
Okay.
of,
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the request with the friendly suggestion that a color that, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. Lourdes, do you have any?
A stain?
Not
That a stain in a color resembling a natural wood.
Natural wood, oak? I mean,
Yeah.
just light oak?
A natural light stain. And
A natural light stain?
a natural light stain.
Opposed
to a
Miller light stain.
natty
right?
light stain, yeah.
No Miller or Bud Light,
Yeah.
natural light.
And how that's applied, I don't want to know.
You drink a little bit, stain a little bit, drink a little bit.
Pour a little.
That is not part of my motion.
Natural light oak.
Well, I would put wood,
I may
right?
have to-
A natural light
This Robert's rules
wood,
for abandoning the motion and
Color.
color making it.
wood tone.
That's slits. Will you go with slits, David? Can we do a slit stain?
I guess you don't like oak.
Oh my goodness.
Just a medium or a light stain?
More of a bourbon stain. Bourbon.
Yeah.
Stain.
Bourbon,
All
yeah.
right, so for the record.
Okay, yes.
A gold.
Mr. Chairman, you better take over. This is
So,
disintegrating.
so you got the idea of the stain?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other conditions?
That's it on condition.
And-
Show
and-
the gate.
And a gate.
Show the gate on the plan.
So, yeah.
And are we okay with just an opening versus a gate? Because if the gate's not well-made and secure.
Well, and that may be what they're proposing, because
Yeah.
they don't actually, it
Gate
may
should
just be
You don't need it.
an opening.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
have some access to the, from the outside to the inside.
But not
Can
a-
you show the access opening?
Right.
I mean, if you have a gate, people are gonna have to stop and get out.
Yeah, you well, they would open it in the morning and close it at night, but it's probably
Why do
not,
you
you're
want
probably
to do
right,
that?
it's just gonna be open, I suspect.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's no lighting in it, I would think you wouldn't want a gate
What-
on it, because you
what
don't
is-
want someone closing the gate and trapping someone in there. And all that
True,
stuff.
and they're not proposing any lighting, because they don't expect anyone to,
Yeah.
some
No
people
lighting.
will, but most people won't go at
No
night.
lighting.
So our motion includes the assumption that there is an opening but no gate.
Okay.
Right.
And was there a second?
Yep. Motion,
Second,
second.
I know this.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
and a quick question, just curiosity, bear with
And
me.
a quick
Can I-
question.
Quick question. Is that, and I'm
Okay.
embarrassed that I don't know this, but is that concrete sidewalk existing, or is that part of the plan as well?
It's existing,
Okay, just curious. I hadn't
It
read
is, it is.
Either way, I'm glad it's there.
I asked the same question, I didn't know if it
It
was
looks
there
like
or
it's part of
not.
the plan,
It's
you know?
there. I drive by it every day.
You know, I actually have one more suggestion. It's not, doesn't need to be part of the motion, obviously. If the, I don't know if this would be a Public Works or a sanitation department thing, but signage explaining what should and shouldn't go in the trailer would be really helpful. I can't tell you the number of people that ask me, can I put cardboard in this? And if I can, why not?
Are
Well-
you talking about inside?
Typically, they do. I mean, the ones I use up in Defuniak, they have signs that says glass, it says plastic. it's-
Yeah, yeah, I guess where I'm going, not on the
Newspaper.
trailer itself, but a sign with a little bit more explanation.
Oh, as you
Somewhere.
come in.
Paper, what does paper mean?
Yeah,
I use the mall drive and those.
Does it have a sign now?
Big signs that say, no cardboard, please.
yes, on the side of the trailer. And I don't want to be coy, I've asked Greg what that means, and the explanation is that large cardboard boxes fill up the trailer too quickly, and that it's best to put your large cardboard boxes in your normal trash because the inmates pluck it out, most of it out, at the processing facility. But unless you ask Greg that question, which most people don't, folks think that the county is not recycling cardboard. And so I think it would be an opportunity, since someone's going to take the time to put all this up. If there's a way to put a sign up in there, it'd be great.
We'll certainly ask Public Works.
It's not obviously not a requirement of that.
Just an idea.
Yeah,
Just
just an
thought it would be
idea.
helpful.
Yeah.
Just
I
thought.
mean, we make our own signs.
It's a good
right?
idea.
Because I now don't feel bad. My neighbors probably think I'm
But
bad
we
because
make
I
our
put
own
big pieces
signs.
of cardboard in my trash can, but it's because I'm expecting it to be recycled.
Well, I don't know what
It
the
is.
city, I live in the city, I
Same
put
secretary.
cardboard boxes out at the curb, or, I don't
Yeah.
know I don't know what happens to it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's being
It's an
recycled.
opportunity, I guess, to educate people that care, because a lot of people that, they take the time to do all this stuff, and if they were told a little bit more about why it says no cardboard, I think it'd be helpful. And that's just one example.
Okay.
Okay. All right, number 2, Murphy Oil canopy sign.
Yeah, this is a request for a canopy sign on the gasoline canopy, measuring 74 inches by 34.125 inches for a total of 17.54 square feet. It's located at 6595 US Highway 98. And it's exactly like the existing gasoline sign that's up there. This is for diesel. It's the same size. It is a different color. Yes.
Just a couple of quick questions. It specifically says, handwritten on the application, sign will be non-illuminated, we will use uplighting. And then on the sections provided in the drawings, it shows power supply disconnect, main power entrance. I'm a little confused, and I think there's also for facade signage, you're allowed one sign. Now you're saying they want to put 2 signs up on a facade.
Right.
So I'm a little confused about how this works.
Answer to the first question, I think it is going to be uplighting because that's what the existing sign has, is uplighting. The second question, I have 2 answers. One is, it's on a corner. Even though it's not a through road, it's at the corner of West Hewitt and 98, and if you're on a corner lot, you can have 2 signs. The other answer is, we have no standards for this type of sign. It's not really a wall sign because it's not on the wall. It's on the canopy. There's no criteria whatsoever for these signs. Same way with like menu boards for a fast food restaurant. No criteria in the code.
So when it says they can have 2 signs if they're on a corner, does that not mean you have one sign on one side and one side on the other? Not both of them on the same face?
Typically, that's what it means.
That's
Yes.
the intent.
That's the
Pretty
intent.
positive. Well, if
We looked at this I looked at this when I did the review as it's not a wall sign. So we have no standards to apply to it. I say it meets the requirements of Chapter 13, but Chapter 13 has no requirements, no criteria for this type of sign.
I'm gonna, go ahead.
Does that mean it should be disallowed because there's no requirements for it?
I don't think it should be disallowed,
Where
no.
the code's silent, you guys should assume that there's nothing prohibiting it, where it's silent.
But if that were the case, they could line up anything all
I
around this
know.
whole thing that they wanted to. So I don't.
Well, that's why it still comes to you all for approval. You still have to
Yeah,
approve
so
it.
I think we have.
I
But
would
there's
think
2
that's a-
signs, so what it's saying is there's
Purview.
2 signs, if they have 2 walls, if they had 2 walls on here, I'm just trying to in fairness of the applicant, just pretend there's 2 walls, so they're gonna take one of the signs off one wall and put both signs on one wall.
I don't see why you don't treat it just like a wall sign, just because the wall doesn't go all the way down to the ground.
Right.
Right.
It's a face of the building, it's part of the whole thing.
I would
Yeah.
have to agree with that.
Yeah.
But-
Extension of
But
the building.
but it's not a building. It is a structure. I mean, under the building code, it is a structure that would require a building permit, but it's not a building. It's not a wall.
But since there's nothing indicating that specifically for this type of parapet, you can just, take this sign and use it as if it was for a wall.
Well,
Because
that-
it works like if it was for a wall.
That
So-
is the closest thing.
Right, so I would just use that. At least that's what I would like to interpret it as.
Because what we've done, just so you're aware, I've approved menu boards because you can't see them from 98. Like Chick-fil-A, y'all didn't approve their menu board. You can't see it from 98, and we don't have no standards for it. So that I approved that as staff, and I did that I did that for McDonald's in Mossy Head. Mossy Head.
But if you can't see it from 98, I mean, that's the whole point of the code, is it addresses things you can see from.
Right. That's why I haven't that's why I didn't bring it to the board. You can't. We did the same thing with
Can't see it.
Starbucks when Pizza Hut was converted to Starbucks. You can't see it from the road. So this board approved the wall signs and the monument sign, but I approved those signs because you can't see them from 98.
But this is different. because-
Yeah, you can see this. Yeah, it's right on the road. Absolutely.
Do we have the applicant here? State your name, please.
Yes. Hello, my name is Austin Squitieri. I represent Murphy Oil. I'm with Pinnacle Services.
Spell your name, please.
Yes, Austin, last name Squitieri.
Okay.
I have one question for the applicant.
Shoot.
Is the information, I think, fair to draw the conclusion that this is a sign that's being added because you want to advertise the price of diesel?
That's correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, is that information also provided on the ground-mounted monument sign?
No, it just is it was very restrictive when we permitted this. You know, obviously we had to go before the board again, and we could not do the diesel. And it will be non-illuminated, just not internally illuminated. It will have uplighting, just to clarify that. And the main contention really is to make it look pleasing. We're not trying to be overbearing with it. Obviously, we're trying to advertise the diesel because it's a market where the sales for the petroleum and diesel specifically have been down because people really aren't aware, the general public's not aware that we're selling it. And so what we're anticipating is hopefully we can be allowed this cabinet, and if it pleases the board, we have no problem spinning it around the corner to 98. However, that would, it would kind of hurt what we're trying to do by representing it as on the same plane, if you will, or on the same wall. But we could easily put it around the corner if, that would please the board.
Is this one sign or two signs?
It's just one sign.
So that's one dimension
That's correct.
on one side of the facade, correct?
That's correct. It would be right abutting next to the existing
It's a
unlighted.
single box.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But there will be two boxes.
Side by
We
side.
said a single box.
But he's.
No.
Oh, it will be an additional box going next
Next
to
to
the current existing unleaded. I'm sorry. And we'll put it right next to it, so it appears as if it is one, but it is two that will be put together,
All right.
And I can put them right to one another. We left a little bit of space for a disconnect, but we could put that on the other side, obviously.
There's a
Which
couple of
would-
things that I have for you. All right. This is side by side, or you can go to the other side of the canopy.
Yes, sir.
So, we can look at the other side of the canopy, one on one side and one on the other side, facing the front. Be split between the building.
I'm just going to make an observation, and this is mainly speaking to Tim's comment. I'm a big believer that what I call the preamble of any part of the code is a part of the code. And in 13.03.00A, purpose and intent, it actually does make some general statements about signs that I think we can use. Part of a phrase, the specific intent of the standards lies in limiting the quantity, and it goes on to say curb cuts, et cetera, and the very last part of that it says, and limiting the number and size of signs to maintain the natural beauty of the area. And then the next sentence says, signs should be unobtrusive yet visible and easy to read. And I think that's it for signs in that. So to me, that's enough to go on to begin to draw some conclusions about whether we can, whether we have to approve this. I don't perceive we do. And if we do, we've got some criteria that it should be unobtrusive. It's okay if it's visible and easy to read. So, we're talking about a pretty straightforward sign. So, I think Tim's comment's a good one. I think we have some grounds
Right.
to dispose of this.
So,
May I ask one other question?
go ahead.
Do the letters have some elevation to them?
Like,
The
are they
numbers,
raised?
letters,
No,
raised?
no, sir.
No,
Not
because
at
they're
all.
changeable. They have to be, the price changes.
Channel.
Yeah, the way the sign works is it is an electrical sign. However, there's scrolling material inside the sign, and that's how the prices are changed. Internally, there are scrolls, and so each number is on an independent scrolling system. And so it is electrical in that regard, but it's not.
I was about to say, there is one other general statement, and that is under building signs. Where did I see it?
Have a minimum rise of 3/8 inch.
Sign standards, prohibited signs. This is, is this the scenic corridors and vistas? I better check with Sydney. Is item F, sign control, is that part of?
To look at it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding the way this goes put together. Okay, so what I was reading from the second code is I was just reading that section.
While we're at it, I got a quick question about signage for this location. Tim? The monument sign on 98 is the monument sign, similar to the red one that has the regular gas. There's a new
Put one here and one
diesel
there,
sign
and then it'll be-
on the ground next to it.
Well, you can only have one monument sign. And, well, actually, they have enough frontage. Do you know what the frontage is? I know it's a lot. It's a very long parcel. For every 400 feet, you can have another monument sign.
So my point is, there seems to be a temporarily built wooden structure with that green diesel sign on there that I don't remember seeing come through the board
I haven't been by there.
to be approved.
I don't know
It
that
just
I've
kinda
seen
showed
it.
up.
What's this?
I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but I just happened to get gas the other day and I noticed it's almost hidden in the bushes. But there's a new wooden stand with a green diesel pricing on there that we never approved.
That was the point of my initial question. Is the diesel advertised anywhere else on the property?
Yeah, well, it is now, and it must have just showed up within the last 30 or 60 days, because I don't think it was there during the holidays. I almost bet you it wasn't there during the holidays. It's just put up there recently.
I just
Last
drove by
few
that
months.
site today, as a matter of fact. I did not see it.
Man, it's right there by the monument sign. When you turn in, you look to the left, and it's sitting right behind
If that's
the monument
case,
sign.
it'll be removed immediately if that is the case.
So,
I agree. And I think there is a.
It can't be. Can't be.
Well, I'm gonna make a suggestion that, and this is the reason I read the initial thing. I'm not putting this in the form of a motion yet, but to me, the phrase limiting the number and size of signs to maintain the natural beauty of the area. If this body has the power to limit signs, we have the power to say one, and there's one up there. So I don't think we have to grasp at straws if we're inclined to reject this. And that was exactly the reason I asked if diesel was advertised anywhere else on the property.
and I think that's also the reason why we approved it in the very beginning, because if they'd had two up there, then it'd been two signs.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I'll make a.
It hasn't been advertised anywhere on the property, because the monument sign just says Murphy's Oil, or Murphy's.
The price has been there, I don't know if it's been used, correct?
I remember this came up because this was the property we made jokes about, would the
With the
price
low
of
price of gas, yeah.
stay that way, and
Yeah.
I've noticed it.
Because it was going up.
Up here. It's
So,
always been one
let
up
me-
there.
let me-
I thought it was
Yeah.
No, no.
I thought
So let me point this out. So I guess where I'm kind of leading, this is, you know, if there's another monument, it can be every 400 feet. I'm not saying that we need another monument sign, but to get that other one off the ground that's sitting behind this monument sign, it looks terrible. And luckily, there's enough vegetation that you really can't see it, so it's really a waste of putting something right there, and you can tell it's just a temporary looking thing. Why don't they just put the other monument on the other end and put the diesel price on there and have it look a lot nicer?
They could. They'd have to apply, because they applied for this.
Will they apply for this yet?
It would go with what we have for
I need a
guidelines.
straw vote on whether we approve it or not
Yeah.
tonight.
I'm sure they have enough. That's a very long parcel. I'm sure they have enough
And it would
frontage.
look better,
Yep.
and you don't have to put it up there, and you
Clear.
can see it as clear as day. And you got a monument sign with it on it. It
It
looks
probably,
just like
probably
the
be better advertisement.
in better advertising, and you can see it.
And can I make a general comment too, that I would love for the applicant to hear, is that, I'm a really picky person about the corridor, and I use this location in this building as an example of how to do a gas station that looks good. So the last thing I would want to see is it start to not look good, because to me, it's not, sorry, nothing, I don't mean to be offensive, but it's hard to make a gas station look good. Most of them don't. And so this one does, and it fits on the corridor, and I think they've done a good job of it. So I would hate to start tacking things on that take that away. I would agree that a monument sign would be a lot more attractive,
May I ask a
a
question?
lot cleaner.
What if I propose to the board, what if we were to I mean, and it was brought up as a suggestion, which we're not opposed to doing a monument sign. I mean, it's better, it's actually better for us because we'd get more visibility, obviously. We were trying to be as invasive as possible because we know and we appreciate what you're trying to do here in Walton County. So, I mean, we are very sympathetic to that, hence why we went with the small sign on the canopy. But what if we could make that one cabinet? I mean, forget the fact that we're putting another cabinet on there. What if I come and actually we just make one cabinet that encompasses both of the prices, but it is just that, one cabinet. I mean, that is a real possibility.
Can you also make it where the numbers are three-dimensional? Because it specifically says in the code that flat wood or individual flat cut vinyl letters or styrofoam are not permitted. You have to have at least 3/8 of an inch embossed.
So it's already a deviation, really, technically.
Well,
The other said the scale of it would be, it's a
it might be
larger
splitting
sign,
hairs, but
and
it's,
then you would have to have the two different colors on that one box. It's always, it's not gonna look right.
it might be splitting hairs, but I mean, it's numbers, not letters. The code refers to letters, like the name of something. This is numbers for price.
I don't think that's the intent of the code. I really don't. I
But there's
think
not
it
much you
led
can
to
do
characters.
with price. How do you represent price?
Yeah, but then you have two different colors that are gonna be there together, and it's gonna look like two boxes or two signs.
It already looks
You
like
know?
a box sign, which we don't allow from a looks perspective. So,
In any of the other,
Well, I'll tell you this, and there's no gas stations that use a three-dimensional letter for pricing. Not one. And there's not one in this town, not one in the city, because you can't. I mean, you have either a digital panel or you'll have a flat price panel like ours are internally scrolling. Even if you were to use changeable copy, they're not raised. They're just a quarter-inch panel that you slide into a track. So I mean, not that I'm above figuring out how we can make that, but
Changeable copy, if I'm not mistaken, is allowed on a monument.
yeah, but that wouldn't be a 3-inch raised copy.
It's not, it's
Okay.
allowed
Okay.
on a
Well,
monument
Okay.
with exterior source lighting.
Okay, and that's what we have is changeable, but I'm
So
talking
that's
about
what you have,
the
yeah.
ones that you insert. I mean, those aren't even raised.
I mean, I'm just throwing my opinion in. I think a ground-mounted monument-style sign would be preferable to mounting more stuff on the canopy.
As long as the
Much
property is.
it's got the footage, yeah, if we got the right footage, like Tim says, I think it would.
I think it would be more visible, it'd be nicer, it'd be better for the corridor, and,
better all the way around.
Yeah. And then it would take the
Scale on it,
temporary,
but you can see it's a very long parcel.
yeah.
I'm sure they have enough
Yeah, I'm trying to
frontage.
tell from this picture where this drawing is, but it's not really.
here's the,
It goes beyond, see,
So
it goes way beyond.
that's the scale, there's a scale there.
all over here.
Right, I'm looking at the
This
scale,
is the
but I'm not.
parcel.
It's 380
long.
feet, and,
Yeah.
Is that scale accurate? Is that long?
yeah, I mean, because it would be like,
Oh, there
it's
is a
almost like 800, more than 1,000 feet.
Is it?
If you take 380 feet, and that's the length,
I was just looking at the 33 feet here and then trying to see how many.
Yeah,
of
it's a
those
long
fit.
parcel. It goes from Massachusetts all the way to the entrance to the apartments.
but look at the scale, on your right.
Yeah, that's,
80.
Yeah, so it's like.
It's 80 feet.
So you got the footage.
Yes.
And it would really, in my opinion, would look a lot better than having another sign hang up on a canopy. And it just looks a lot more cleaner and more,
Yes, sir, absolutely. Whatever would please the board, we're willing to do.
and
I have a
it's.
question for staff.
Go ahead.
In this case, if we were to continue this to the next meeting to allow the preparation of a monument sign package, is that a legitimate way of proceeding, or is that a variance and it needs to be advertised differently, and should this be rejected, and
Because it says
Um,
one inch is 20 feet, and that's
does that make sense?
so I think.
well, it sounds like it's one or the other. Either you
Yeah, I'm talking
allow,
about the application process. In other words, if we continue this and they come back next month with, I'm just trying to avoid rejecting something and costing them a bunch of money to reapply and all that.
well, they They haven't applied for a monument sign, so they'd have to do that and pay the fee as part of
Tim, what's
the
the
monument
difference
sign.
between the canopy sign and the monument sign fee?
None. They're both $225.
Wayne, could we just waive the fee if we continued it? Would that be acceptable?
I can't waive fees unless, I can't waive fees on
Okay.
loan.
But again, so I guess the question is, if we continue it and the package is revised, is it, you can't go from a,
So
Up to
you're asking, can you modify his request?
Each sign,
Mon-
well, I guess maybe modification would work, but each sign requires an application and a fee. But in this case, if it's a modification,
Modification's application, we could probably do it that way, but I can't waive fees.
okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to avoid the cost of an additional fee.
Right.
well, that might work if you continue it and we advertise and submit for next month.
Modification.
Monument
A monument
signs
sign.
and wall signs are on the same application, so.
Yeah, they are on the
just
same
get one
application.
Well, in that
So,
case,
yeah.
I'm prepared to make
That
a
would be
motion to
great.
continue this, and I think the applicant's probably received enough feedback to come back next month with a sign we're likely to approve.
And that's April 7th.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
If I said anything that makes anybody uncomfortable?
Only that I want to make sure that they can legally apply for a monument sign. I think it's in question if they really do have enough frontage.
Oh,
I
okay.
think from looking at this, I don't see.
It doesn't look like it.
Third is,
Well, this is the, not to
Yeah.
dredge up unpleasant history, but isn't
Well, I
this
mean, I
project
think
that
we want you to click
kind of
both.
waded into a bunch of wetlands? And,
It is.
Let's wait a long time to-
yeah, but I guess what I'm getting at is I can believe that this parcel may be that large because most of it's wetlands.
Yeah, most of it is
This
wet.
is more over here, this isn't
that's
it.
correct, that's just the uplands
That
part of
scale
it.
is.
I think this is the uplands. Everything east of this is
I think
wet.
the parcel really is
They
that
have
big is my
more
point.
over here, it's not all showing.
Well,
the
even
rest.
just this that is actually represented here is probably almost 300 feet.
Yeah.
So if you think there's
I'm-
another.
I feel good, and the other piece of it is because what's next to it's wetlands, it's not like another building is gonna be built next to it. So, even if it had to come back. it's-
They even filled some of this. I mean, this wasn't all uplands, even where the building's located now.
That's correct, they did, yeah.
Now, some clarification. Do you want both signs to be on the monument, or leave the one that's up there and,
Oh, I'd prefer that it's only monument, but they've already gotten approval for.
Leave the one up there.
Unless you just have a goodness of your heart and take it down.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're still gonna be.
They're not gonna take it down, so I mean,
yeah.
if you would take it
We
down, that'd be great. If
we
not,
approved the first one,
Yeah.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They don't have to.
and that's one of the reasons I have an interest in that beginning preamble language is that we do have a lot of leeway.
willing to take
It is the best looking gas station around.
Yeah,
All right, so if I make we ready for a motion?
we're ready for a motion.
Okay, I move we continue the, I'm trying to forget the name of it. The Murphy Oil canopy sign to the April 7th meeting. I don't know if, does the motion need to include mention of the modification? The applicant heard it.
Yeah.
Should-
No,
should-
I don't.
It's not
Okay,
necessary.
yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to continue. Say a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Colleen? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Mr.
right,
Chairman, is a motion to approve in order?
a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, there
Approve
is.
the adjourn.
Approve an adjournment.
I was feeling good. I'm on a roll.
Approve that adjournment.
I want to use some approval.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Rock and roll.
Hang on 1 second, guys, just one.
I like it when y'all are happy and you come in here.
Yeah.
I like it when people
We have
try to do something.
another meeting, other boards and
You know, we've been-
He's already,
So you physically can see, oh, okay,